Hi everyone, welcome to the developer update for August. Now, August was one of those weird months that both went by really quickly and also really slowly. A large amount of the work that I was doing during August was bug fixing. Now, we're getting very close to the release of the game, which is pretty exciting, and so that means there's been a lot of stuff, essentially a lot of bugs that have needed to get fixed in time, and because of, now you all know, we're releasing the game at the same time on all platforms as well, across console, I've needed to make sure that a lot of the bugs that I've been getting done are ones that are going to work across all the platforms, and that I need to get things done enough in advance so that the team that's actually working on converting the game over to the consoles, they have enough time to bring all of those changes over and make sure that they all work and are implemented on the console stuff before we submit all of that to the platform holders and they give it the thumbs up for release. So talking about console stuff, you've probably seen, but the game is going to release next month, in under a month now, which is kind of crazy, on the 27th, and it will be on PlayStation, on Xbox, on Switch, and on Steam as well. So it's been something that's been in development for quite some time, and it's nice to finally be able to actually share it with you that the game is coming to consoles. And like I say, there is a team or a couple of people at another external company called Do Games, and they are in charge of essentially taking the game and moving it onto all the other platforms. Now, what this means is that I get to work on essentially the PC version of the game, so I just continue developing as normal, and time to time they will sort of grab everything and all of my changes that I've done and they will bring those onto the other platforms and make sure that works. So they've been doing that sort of bit by bit as I've been developing, and yeah, this is kind of the last month or so where they will be grabbing those last changes and making sure that they will work on the other consoles. In preparation for the PC launch on Steam, I spent a little bit of time looking at the Steam Deck, and now Valve gives you a kind of sort of a run through of why your game does or does not pass their checks for Steam Deck, and I got that email through a couple of months ago from Valve saying, okay, these are the reasons why we won't give you that sort of like runs on Steam Deck sticker thing that you put on the store page. And so I went through those issues and I've looked at those and fixed them. There are a bunch of things to do with sort of touchscreen input, which is not something that I actually intended to support in the game, at least from the launch. So doing things like I need to remove touchscreen input so that was sort of working, and making sure basically all of the game works with a gamepad. So fixing up sort of text input and stuff like that to use the Steam keyboard instead of, right now you have to kind of switch to a keyboard and mouse if you want to use those screens. So that was sort of work that needed doing anyway, but my goal has been to try and get those changes sorted so that we will get the Switch approved status, sorry, not Switch approved, the Steam Deck approved status for the game on Steam. That'll be going into submission. We have to like resubmit it through to Valve to give it the thumbs up again. That'll be going to submission sometime soon. And fingers crossed there aren't going to be any kind of changes and weird things that I've missed. Staying on the topic of Steam, you might have seen that Steam achievements have now been set up. It's kind of a weird thing. If you have a live running game, you have to turn all the achievements on Steam before you can test and make sure that they're all working in the code. So you've probably seen that they're all now live and you can see on the game store page what the achievements are, and with them all set up I could basically get all the code working and make sure that those achievements unlock. And so those achievements are going to be, they're the same across all the platforms, so all the other platform stuff has been sorted. It was just the Steam stuff that I needed to get done. Now they're all done, so they all seem to be working as well, so that's great. And that's kind of the whole package for Steam stuff, at least that's intended for launch. Towards the end of the month, I was pretty much kind of doing the whole whack-a-mole thing where if there were any big bugs that popped up that QA found or the community testers found, I would sort of hop on and fix those, but otherwise not really touching the game, or at least touching the code that's going into the launch build, because basically every time you change anything or touch anything, there is a risk that you will create more bugs, or something else somewhere else in the game will be affected. And so you want to kind of make sure that the changes that you're doing are kept to a minimum at the very last bit. So yeah, I've been working on kind of future stuff and other bug fixes, but it's kind of a weird thing where they are going to be in the next sort of post-launch first update, and it's kind of a weird thing not being able to merge them into the release update. So that's sort of what I've been focusing on towards the end of the month. With regards to post-launch updates, we're still sort of figuring out kind of when and how they'll be released, and that is also very much a case of sort of looking at how the game sells, how things go, and how many updates it makes sense to do. Obviously, if things go super well, then we've got a whole bunch of updates planned. We've got quite a lot of updates planned actually, in terms of what they're going to be, and hopefully we'll get to do all of those. But we sort of need to sort of adjust things a little bit depending on how well the game goes, and we don't know how well that's going to go until it's released. So we know for certain that there's going to be a first update, and that is what I've been actually starting working on towards the end of the month. This first post-launch update, the focus of it has been more kind of like town stuff and a few kind of quality of life bits and pieces that I know that the community have been asking for. So I've been really keen to get started on that, and even though I'm not really scheduled to start this work until maybe October, I thought I would get a bit of a head start so that I have a bit more time later on to kind of do more bug fixing and other polish bits and pieces. Within this update, one of the first things that I got working on was the ability to expand your house. So all the houses now, you can go up to the sign in front of them, you can interact with that, and you can add either an upstairs or a downstairs or both to the interior. And when you're inside, you'll be able to use the stairs to go up and down and essentially have extra floors to decorate in your home. This also applies to all the other houses, so you'll be able to give all your villagers extra rooms as well. Another bit of feedback that we got from people playing the game is sort of the amount of time that it takes to move around the world, and it can be a bit frustrating. Say if you wanted to go into the mines to gather resources, that's quite a distance to travel and takes a bit of time and is a little bit inconvenient. So one thing we were meaning to do is to put in some kind of a solution to allow you to sort of, I guess, fast travel around the world, and this is going to be done through what I'm calling teleportation shrines, which is a bit of a weird name. Maybe we'll figure out a better name later on, but essentially they are shrines located in different parts of the world, and you will donate resources to them, and that will unlock that location on the map as somewhere that you can teleport to. And then what you can do is you can run up to a shrine, interact with it, view the map, select a location that you want to move to, and then you'll jump to that location. So there are shrines set up on all the mainland locations. This includes all the mine levels and all the kind of the meadow and beach and stuff like that. So you'll be able to easily jump around between different locations instead of having to, you know, spend quite a bit of time running between different locations when you're gathering resources and things like that. Alongside these, there's a whole bunch of other quality of life changes that are going in, and the intention is also to do quite a reasonable amount of content addition as well. So I want to add more design tool pieces and more villagers, more designs for sort of the exterior of your home, the roof and kind of wall pattern stuff. I'm also very keen to, again, this is another bit of feedback that we got from players, is that the meadow area where you have a lot of the houses generally feels kind of small and cramped when you move a lot of villagers in. And this was never really, my thought was never really that people would move all the villagers in. I thought it was fair to let everyone move in however many you wanted, but I'm seeing that so many people move in so many villagers that that levels gets quite kind of full up. So one thing I'm going to look at doing as well is just actually enlarging that whole area so that you have more space for more houses, more customization, and yeah, just generally so it feels a bit less cramped. So there we have it. It's a bit of a strange kind of feeling, I suppose, at the moment, because yeah, the release of the game is in under a month, and it's kind of crazy to see the sort of reception and people getting very excited for it. It's also a very strange feeling having worked on the game for like 5-6 years, something like that, to in some ways be getting to kind of like the end, even though there will be updates post-launch, so it's sort of an end but not quite an end, and it's all a little bit floaty because we don't really know how well the game is going to go, we don't know how many updates we're going to do after launch. There's a whole bunch of weird sort of feelings, I guess, that that are kind of going through my through my head. But right now I'm trying to sort of give myself time to kind of reflect on stuff and plan future things, look at the game, but also take a bit of time off. My intention is that September I'm going to be primarily on vacation. If there are any bits and pieces that pop up, that work stuff, there's inevitably going to be stuff that needs doing in the lead up to launch, but I'm going to try and take as much time as possible off during the month so that I can kind of like recuperate and get a whole bunch of inspiration and start thinking about kind of the future of Hokko, where that goes, potentially other future projects, other bits and pieces, and generally just come back in October ready to get started on post-launch updates with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm for next stuff. That's it for this month's update. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you're not already a member, please do join the Discord server, and if you have bought the game, played it, and are enjoying it, please don't forget to add a review on Steam. It makes a huge difference. It really affects how all the Steam algorithms and all that stuff works. So if you've got 5 minutes and you can give it a thumbs up and just say that you liked it, that will help me immensely. I hope you all had a wonderful summer. I'm very much looking forward to my month off next month. I will speak to you again in October.